Hi everybody, just want to make a real quick video to show an easy way to change the background colors on your images. If you're working with a background that's neutral, it'll give you a wide variety of color options. If you're working on a background that's got more color to it already, your options will be a little more limited. And I don't believe it works really well if you're using white. It's hard to change the hue of white, but this is a soft off-white color, and it makes for a really nice, easy hue saturation adjustment. So what I'm going to do, starting off with my image opened in Photoshop, and I've already edited her skin and done everything that I wanted. So this is actually in the client's gallery as is. And then I just started playing with it for fun. And I usually end up with one or two options that I like to add to the gallery just to give some variety, give some color. So over here in my adjustment panel, I see my background layer. That's the only layer that I have open right now. And what I'm going to do is come down to this circular icon here, which is for an adjustment layer. I'm going to click on it. Have a bunch of different options, but I'm going to go to Hue Saturation. And that brings up my Hue Saturation layer. There's tabs up here that you need to be aware of. If you want to see your work, you go to the Layers tab. So there's my background, there's my hue saturation layer. If you go to channels, you want to make sure you have RGB selected. That's going to affect the red, green, and blue in your image. Paths, have no idea what that's for. And then properties is where you're going to actually play with the bars here to change the hue and the saturation. So just to show you how easy it is, we're going to go to our hue slider, and I'm going to slide all the way to the end and start there and just move up. So we have a light bluish purple. As we scroll up, it keeps changing. Now we got a hot pink and more of a coral. We're back almost to the original here. If we get to 0, that's the original. Keep scrolling. Now it's going to get more yellow, more green. We got like a light blue, and we're getting into a purple, and that's it. Fun stuff, huh? I like this color right here. Saturation slider is going to either decrease or increase the saturation. If you increase, your colors are going to get a little crazy and a little unrealistic. If you desaturate the layer, I like that sometimes. It gets softer and a little more muted, but I'm just going to keep that where it was. If you double tap where it says saturation, it'll go back to the beginning 0 balance there. So now we have a really pretty light blue color. Not a really pretty light blue baby though. So I want to take the saturation and hue, sorry I keep saying saturation, but we're just doing hue. I want to take this hue adjustment off of her skin. So I'm going to go back to my layers tab and go back to my hue saturation layer. Make sure that my mask is highlighted by clicking on it. That shows that whatever work I'm doing over here on my desktop, I'm actually doing on this hue saturation mask. If I clicked over here, I'd be working on the actual layer. I want to work on the mask. A mask, what it does, trying to explain a mask is really hard. A mask adheres to that layer that you're working on, and it adjusts and affects that layer and makes that layer magically be able to become transparent and or opaque in different areas of the layer. If I just adjusted the opacity of this entire layer, that whole image area would be affected. So I can make this less and less opaque so that I can see through that layer. That layer now is almost invisible. So there at 0, that layer is completely invisible. I can't see any of it. All I can see is what's below it. And then I can raise the opacity. And I use this a lot when especially when I'm using different actions, and they always seem to be a little over the top. I'll just lower the opacity a bit and it softens the effect. I don't want to lower the opacity of this entire image. I only want to change her face, okay? So when my mask is white, that means I can see this entire layer. I can see the hue adjustment I did on the entire layer. If my mask was black, it's saying I can't see that adjustment. So I'm going to color on my mask with a black paintbrush. I'm going to go to my tools, click paintbrush, make sure that black is my foreground color. I have a soft round brush and my opacity is going to be 100%. Again, this mask is highlighted, so anything I do over here is going to be working on that mask. So let's say I don't want this area of my flocati to be blue, so I'm going to mask that part off. And now, if you look at the mask here, it shows where you just colored that in, and it's saying, okay, on the black part, you can't see this layer. You can't see that hue adjustment that you did. On the white part, you can see the hue adjustment that you did. I don't want it there. I want all of my flocati to be blue, so I need to correct that. Unlike erasing, using the eraser tool, when you use masks, it's super easy to go back and fix any mistakes that you did. So I don't want that to be black, I want it to be white. So I'm going to go back down here to my paint color, switch it to white, and then color it back in again. Now my entire mask is white, so I can see my entire adjustment layer. So I just want to mask this layer off of her face. So going back to my black brush, I'm going to zoom in. It's a little too close. And I'm going to make my brush smaller by using my left bracket key. Left bracket key gets smaller, right bracket key gets bigger. Make it smaller, and I'm just going to start coloring in over her face. You have to get smaller and closer and a little more detailed when you're on the edges of like her headband or the flocati or parts that you don't want masked off. This is why I do it all by hand. There are easier ways to select the baby. Like I could come over here and to my quick selection tool and just select her face, but I still would have to go in and manually change that or manually fix the edges. So I just go straight to, I just do it all by hand. And there's probably a much better way to save a lot of time, but for now, this is what works for me. This is how I do it. So you just keep going, coloring black onto the mask on the parts you don't want to see it. You really want to zoom in close, make sure you're getting, you don't have a little line left over there. There's parts down here I missed. I don't want to spend, it would probably take me 10 minutes to do this all really, really well. So I'm not going to waste your time showing you all of that. I also want to show you one more trick to make sure that you've gotten all of the parts colored in that you need to and that you haven't missed anything. You can, over here on your mask, when it's highlighted, you can click on your backslash key on your keyboard, and that turns your mask, it gives you this red color on here that shows you exactly what you've masked so far. So I can see I missed a little spot over here. So I need to, whoops, make sure you're on black. So I need to color that back in. I missed a little spot down here, so I'm going to go over that. I obviously missed all of this up here that I need to finish coloring in. I missed this part of her face, so I need to fix that. So this, I always double check with this, I don't know what it's called, mask highlighter, to make sure I've gotten all the little pieces that I need to get. So I will always check with this before I finalize my image. And then to make that go away, just click your backslash key again. So to finish this out, I would finish masking off all of her skin. And then if I decided I don't want blue, or maybe I do want the blue and I want a different color, I'm going to go back to my properties tab and I'm going to, okay, I need to be on Hue Saturation and then go back to my Properties tab. Then I can play with my Hue slider again. And let's say I want it to be pink. And I can save it as pink. And then I want one that's purple and blue. And I want one that's kind of peachy. And just save those, and you've already got it masked off of her face. So you're only changing the adjustment on the part that's not masked off. So I hope that helps somebody. Go have fun. I'd love for you to share some of your saturation and hue adjustments with me. And that's all for now. Thanks. Bye.